the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
COVID-19 cases are on the rise at colleges across central Indiana. Administrators continue to ask students to follow the health and safety guidelines put in place to slow down the spread of the virus, with possible punishments if students don't. IU announced today 6 more Greek houses. A total of 14 are under quarantine. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker talked to an IU student who is doing her best to stay safe.
I know I shouldn't be going out and partying, so I'm not.
IU junior Malia Zafar wants her fellow students to realize the importance of following all the guidelines about slowing the spread of coronavirus.
I think everybody just needs to get on the same page.
Malia is part of a sorority, but they don't have a house. So she and her sisters have been spared from the mandatory quarantine impacting other organizations. She tells me all their meetings have been virtual, and she's only seen a few of the other members in person.
I have one sister, well, 2 sisters that live downstairs in the same apartment complex as me, so I've seen them a couple times, but even then we've been standing far apart from each other.
But Malia does know at least one person who's now under quarantine.
I know a friend who's having to go to Ashton right now, which is the quarantine dorm.
We first met Malia about a month before classes started. She talked to us with her parents about how they weren't going to be seeing as much of each other as usual because of the virus. And although she's not happy about it, she realizes is what needs to be done to keep everyone safe.
This is going to be a collective effort from everyone.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
And IU is offering testing on campus for all students to try and keep their campus community safe during this pandemic. Ball State is providing additional testing this week as it deals with a big spike in positive cases. The university says any student can get tested tomorrow or Wednesday from 10 to 6 at Worthen Arena. Last week, the president of Ball State released a statement saying if things do not change, he may temporarily suspend all on-campus courses or switch to remote learning for the rest of the semester. And according to the State Department of Health, 19.6% of positive COVID cases in Indiana have been people ages 20 through 29. That is the highest percentage among age groups. Now to the forecast as we take a live look outside. You can see rain is not an issue at this hour, but Kevin is tracking changes in his forecast. Hey, Kevin.
And one of those, Amanda, a chance for rain. Some of you may find that exciting. We've got temperatures nearly in the 40s within the 7-day planner as well. A lot going on. 73 as we're in the last hour of August. How about that? We'll step into a brand new month tomorrow, and we'll do that with some patchy fog first thing in the morning. The change for tomorrow, as we go through the overnight, any showers stay to the north and west, and through the first part of tomorrow, a shower or thunderstorm through midday northwest. But there are the probabilities of rain increasing tomorrow and then starting to peak about this time tomorrow night. We'll talk about our severe weather potential, how many other opportunities for rain there'll be in the 7-day forecast, and your Labor Day weekend forecast.
More than 7 weeks after someone shot and killed a 16-year-old boy on the east side of Indianapolis, his family is asking for your help as they search for answers.
It feels like, that there's not going to be any justice. It feels like it's almost feeling swept under the rug, so to speak, I guess, because there's so many other things going on in the world and the city.
Braden Shiflett was one of 3 teens shot at a party near 24th and Sheridan on July 11th. His father says there are still many unanswered questions in the case, including who shot his son and why. James Shiflett says Braden liked to play basketball and was part of the Christian group Young Life at North Central High School. James hopes someone comes forward with information.
We just want answers. We just want to know there's somebody out there that knows something, saw something. And that's all. I just want somebody to speak up because I don't want anybody else to have to go through this, especially to not know, why and what reason there is behind not having your child with you anymore.
We are waiting to hear back from the detective working this case. If you have any information, you can call Crime Stoppers anonymously at 317-262-TIPS. President Trump will visit Kenosha, Wisconsin tomorrow to meet with law enforcement and look at damage following protests there. ABC's Alex Prochet reports the police shooting of Jacob Blake and the reaction has taken center stage on the campaign trail.
Joe Biden in the battleground state of Pennsylvania blasting President Trump during a rare campaign stop in Pittsburgh.
Fires are burning and we have a president who fans the flames rather than fighting the flames.
The Democratic nominee also repeating his condemnation of violence that's broken out in several cities.
Rioting is not protesting. Looting is not protesting. Setting fires is not protesting. None of this is protesting. It's lawlessness, plain and simple.
President Trump later today trying to portray Biden as a far-left supporter.
The violent rioters share Biden's same talking points, and they share his same agenda for our nation.
You know me. Do I look like a radical socialist with a soft spot for rioters? Really?
This as President Trump prepares to visit Kenosha, Wisconsin tomorrow, meeting with law enforcement and surveying damage, a visit the governor and mayor have asked him to reconsider over concerns the city might see more violence like what happened in Portland overnight. Protesters blocking traffic and hurling projectiles like these rocks at officers. On Saturday, fights breaking out downtown when a caravan of the president's supporters drove through the city, clashing with protesters demanding racial justice. Witnesses reporting seeing trucks firing paintball guns at protesters. And later in the evening, this deadly shooting. Police saying the man killed was 39-year-old Aaron Danielson, seen wearing a Blue Lives Matter flag and reportedly a hat that belonged to a right-wing group. Today, the president condemned that shooter, but refused to do the same for Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old Trump supporter charged with shooting 3 people, 2 of whom died during protests last week in Kenosha.
I guess he was in very big trouble. He probably would have been killed.
When asked if he'll meet with the family of Jacob Blake during tomorrow's visit, the president saying Blake's family wanted a lawyer present. The president didn't think that was appropriate. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
The state of the U.S. Postal Service could still be an issue on the campaign trail leading up to the election. Postal workers in Indiana say current mail delays are unprecedented. Nearly every morning, trucks leave the Indianapolis post office on South Street, but local postal workers say because of new cost-cutting measures put in place by the U.S. Postmaster General, trucks are not full like they should be. The newly appointed postmaster mandated that every truck keep to its schedule even if it's empty. The cuts require postal trucks to leave sorting facilities by a specific time each day. The changes are meant to improve efficiency and reduce overtime and extra trips. Local workers say they're seeing an impact.
Well, we've seen both, and it depends on the volumes of mail for the day. If we have a heavy volume day, that mail may not make the truck on time because they're telling us to stop the processing at a certain time. So there are cases where trucks may run empty or half full, and then instead of running an extra truck like we would traditionally have done, the mail sits until the next day.
WRTV Investigates reached out to the Postal Service. We received a statement saying, quote, on-time transportation has gone up from 89% to 97% in a few weeks. Since 2007, the Postal Service has experienced nearly $80 billion in cumulative losses. Postal workers are asking Congress for help. Indiana's eviction moratorium ended about 2 weeks ago, and some families are already losing their homes. The organization Family Promise of Hendricks County is working to help those families. The director says today alone, there were 28 evictions filed in Hendricks County. One woman we spoke to says after working at a downtown hotel for decades, she was laid off in March due to the pandemic, and she's still waiting on unemployment benefit issues to be resolved, putting her in a desperate position.
My mortgage is behind, my utilities behind, I don't have any food. You know how many people are stressing out at home? We don't know what way to go. It's not only me, there is a lot of people.
Family Promise assists people in several ways, including mediating with landlords, providing emergency housing, working with courts, and helping find new permanent housing. Leaders with the organization admit things may get worse before they get better, but they have faith in the community.
2 months ago, we were in a place where we were scared, but at least we had a home and we had food and we had our utilities on. Now, we're still those same people with those same struggles, but we don't have that safety net anymore. And so we've got to pull together as a community to be able to help these families get through this hard time. And it will end and it will get better, but it's going to take all of us getting up that mountain together.
For more information about Family Promise, go to WRTV.com. Several months after a soul food staple caught fire on the near north side of Indianapolis, the restaurant is planning to rise from the ashes. The fire in January damaged Country Kitchen on North College Avenue. Now the building is gone, but plans to rebuild are underway. Regina Marsh says the pandemic has slowed the process, but it is moving forward.
Had there not been a pandemic, we might have been able to start this project sooner. So while the project is still in the process of being built, that's income that we're not bringing in as a Black business. We've got the plans in place. We're now looking for bids, and we're in the process of doing this. Our goal is February or March of 2021 to be complete, but that's ambitious in the middle of a pandemic.
The new plans will include an event center. Marsh says insurance is covering the cost of the rebuild. She says money raised from the community shortly after the fire went toward helping the staff. And while you cannot dine at Country Kitchen right now, you can support other Black restaurants and businesses. You can find a directory of Black-owned businesses around Central Indiana on our website at WRTV.com.
I can say from personal experience, there's nothing more rewarding than getting up every morning and knowing that when you go to work, you're actually helping people and you're making a difference in the community.
Make a living and make a difference. Coming up, an organization dedicated to serving people in need is hiring Hoosiers. And next.
In the long run, any cost that insurance companies are taking on as a result of COVID, they're going to be passed on to you. They're going to be passed on to me.
A woman who received a more than $3,000 bill for a COVID test shares her story and her concerns. And you can help empower children with the literacy tools they need to be successful in school and in life by donating to the WRTV If You Give a Child a Book campaign. The fundraiser goes through September 11th. Go to WRTV.com/giveabook for more information. We'll be right back.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Under the Federal CARES Act, the cost of COVID tests are supposed to be covered, but some people are getting hit with bills for thousands of dollars. Scripps reporter Chris Conte shares a warning from a Texas woman.
Walking into the emergency room, Lori Delgado Witten knew the COVID test she was there for would be far from pleasant.
It was, the swab up into your brain, basically.
But the pain of that quick swab has lasted far beyond the 2-minute test she received recently.
It's just not knowing what it's going to, every day something changes.
Lori got her COVID test at an ER near Houston on May 18th. 10 days later, on May 28th, she finally got her results. They were negative.
Nobody called me. I actually had to call the hospital and find out how to get the results.
It wasn't just the wait for the test, though, that Lori is concerned about. It's the bill she received in the mail days later she still can't comprehend. The total, $3,165.92, more than $3,000 just to get one COVID test.
Yeah, I think it's a total scam. And, in the midst of a pandemic, it's even worse.
Under the CARES Act passed by Congress, COVID tests are legally mandated to be covered. Because Lori had already met her deductible, she personally didn't owe any money. But it's the principle of her insurance company agreeing to pay that astronomical bill that causes her deep concern.
In the long run, any costs that insurance companies are taking on as a result of COVID, they're going to be passed on to you. They're going to be passed on to me.
This is a real problem.
Michelle Johnson is a healthcare advocate. She's worried that stories like Lori's will deter others from getting tested.
If people understand that it's going to cost money to go get a test, they won't do it.
People from New York to Texas to Tennessee to Washington State, all reportedly receiving surprise COVID bills. What can you do if you visit the doctor and get a surprise COVID bill? Aside from contacting your insurance company, Michelle Johnson says call your elected officials. Let them know what's happening.
The only solution is for elected officials to step up and do their job.
Some kind of accountability so that Americans aren't suffering any more than they already have.
It's bad enough to do this, when things are normal, but in this kind of environment, it's sickening.
I'm Chris Conte reporting.
According to the Indiana State Department of Health, anyone who lives or works in Indiana can get a free COVID test at an Optum site. You can register by going to lhi.care/COVID testing or by calling 888-634-1116. And now to the forecast. WRTV Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory joins us now tracking Tuesday thunderstorms. Kevin.
And I have a smile on my face. We need the rain. How badly do we need the rain? 1 out of 21. So you go back 3 weeks, we've had 1 day of measurable rainfall in Indianapolis. Then if you look at the month as a whole, just 5 out of 31 days in August did we have rainfall measurable. If you look at the year, though, we're still about 5 inches above average for this time of year. Tomorrow and Wednesday are 2 best opportunities for showers and thunderstorms. The rain chances diminish a bit on Thursday, especially western half of the state. Then we should be dry Friday and Saturday, even Sunday. Our risk for severe weather is low tomorrow. It's what we call the marginal risk. Limited in coverage any of these strong storms would be, and I think damaging wind would be the main threat from some of the strongest storms that could get going. 83 tomorrow and Wednesday. Temperature not much different as we go to Thursday, a 40% chance for thunderstorms. That thunderstorm chance then opens the door to cooler, less humid air by the end of the week as we put this in motion. I'm starting at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Not to say that we couldn't have anything before that, but they're just much more numerous, 4 to 7. You see the line of strong, isolated severe storms, Lafayette to Logansport, Kokomo, and Peru. Those are sliding east while others start to pop up in central Indiana late tomorrow night. That's probably our peak opportunity for the storms sometime before sunset and until around midnight. As you can see, temperature trend all below the average of 83. When the humidity drops out of the air again, that'll really set the stage for temperatures to cool down. Morning lows by Saturday will be in the low 50s in Indy and in some spots maybe even the upper 40s. Wednesday, scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon. Again, I think the coverage will be spotty. There's no guarantee we're all seeing rain here. And as you look at the high temperatures, lower 80s, just depending on the timing of the thunderstorms. There's your weekend forecast. Labor Day weekend. Coolest on the morning hours during Saturday morning, temperatures in Indy around 53 or 54, but I think outlying areas potentially in the upper 40s. We'll keep that in the back of our mind, see where we land by Saturday morning. And then early next week, our chance for thunderstorms on Labor Day itself at about 40%. If you need the rain, fingers crossed for tomorrow and Wednesday. Amanda?
Thanks, Kevin. The Rebound Indiana is connecting small businesses and entrepreneurs to resources as the pandemic continues. Tonight, we're sharing how one local restaurant took a big hit during the shutdown and bounced back with a new vision. Mark Henricks is the owner and chef at Reverie in downtown Greenwood. He says he almost went bankrupt during the closure, but he applied for every loan he could find, including the PPP, which he received. He was able to get his restaurant back open and built a tent in the parking lot for social distant dining. And another loan provided him the opportunity to realize a longtime dream of owning a food truck that provides catering.
Never worked on a food truck before, and it's kind of like the coolest thing I've ever. It's like my baby now.
Would you have started the food truck and catering had COVID-19 not happened?
No, I wouldn't have.
To read more about Mark's journey and to find resources for small business owners, go to WRTV.com/rebound. And WRTV is also committed to connecting you to job opportunities. An organization dedicated to serving the community is hiring Hoosiers. Second Helpings is looking to fill several positions, including staff, accountant, facilities manager, and a driver. Those are full-time jobs with benefits. The nonprofit says it wants to attract a diverse range of candidates who are interested in giving back to the community.
We're looking for people who are committed to the work that we do and who are committed to service. Everything we do at Second Helpings is part of a collaboration with our entire community. They're going to be working with our staff as well as volunteers. So this is an opportunity for someone who really wants to be part of the team.
Second Helpings works to address hunger and poverty in central Indiana by rescuing prepared food that would otherwise get thrown away. The organization also runs a culinary job training program. And the online auto retailer CARVANA is hosting a 3-day hiring event to fill 100 positions at its inspection center in Greenfield. Jobs include entry-level inventory associates, automotive technicians, and auto body techs. You can learn more about the company and participate in an interview on site from 8 to 8 tomorrow, Wednesday or Thursday at the inspection center on FW Marks Drive in Greenfield. For more info about job opportunities at CARVANA, Second Helpings, and more, go to hiringhoosiers.com. We'll be right back.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
The Notre Dame football team is scheduled to take the field in less than 2 weeks. Today, the university announced game day changes in response to the pandemic. Stadium capacity will be limited to 20%. Priority seating will be given to Notre Dame students, and fans will be required to wear masks and social distance, and tailgating will not be allowed. It's unclear when the 2020-2021 NBA season will start, but no matter when it tips off, the Pacers have some work to do in the offseason. That includes finding a new head coach. WRTV Sports Director Dave First talked to the Pacers president about what's next for the blue and gold in tonight's Sports Extra Spotlight.
For the Pacers, bubble life burst. All that hard work during the regular season and momentum gained in Orlando ended in a 4-game sweep at the playoffs. Pacers president Kevin Pritchard saw it all up close.
As a president of this organization, I want us to be better than 4 and out in the playoffs.
It's happened too often. 3 of the last 4 seasons, all under the watchful eye of head coach Nate McMillan. While taking the heat, it was the reason he was let go after 4 seasons.
Yeah, I really appreciated Nate saying it was, his responsibility. But at the end of the day, this is a team that I put together from the coaches, from the players. And so I appreciate Nate doing that, but it's my responsibility.
In the next coach, no stone will be left unturned. Former NBA head coaches, assistants, college head coaches.
The players are becoming more worldly. They're becoming more engaged in society. And I think if I was going to tab one thing in terms of the coaching search is we have to figure out how to communicate on their terms.
Which takes the franchise to former All-Star Victor Oladipo. Returning from surgery, he managed to play in 19 games this season, but has just 1 year remaining on his contract. For now, Kevin says there's no rush for a new extension.
His biggest thing to me is consistently he wants to win. And if we can give him an opportunity to be successful, I think we'll have a chance to keep him.
Another season of ups and downs, hits and misses, a team that was good in the regular season but vanished thereafter.
We come up with the 4th best record in the East, and that's something we're proud of. But at the end of the day, we want to play well in the playoffs.
In a year of uncertainty, that's one thing that is certain. Dave First, WRTV Sports.
Hotels and resorts are getting creative to make up for lost business during the pandemic, with many students and families learning and working remotely. Some hotels are offering what they call schoolcations. Amenities include dedicated classroom spaces, private tutors, and tech support. Some resorts are even turning poolside cabanas into work and school spaces. Interesting.
Creativity. Tomorrow, temperatures in the 80s in the afternoon with an increasing chance for thunderstorms. Amanda?
Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news. Good Morning Indiana starts at 4:30. Good night.